How is everybody today? Excellent.
I'm good.
Excellent.
Pretty good.
All right. So I treat this like a real class where questions aren't rhetorical unless they obviously are. So today is actually going to be a bit of an interactive day, as you will find that the vast majority of my classes are. I think I got an email from someone saying that they were going to be late to class today. Otherwise, I don't know why attendance is so low right now. But today we're actually going to be doing a bit of a group activity that is that's going to build your skills. Again, I told you we're not going to go through like stats. But I am a firm believer of, facilitating internalization in learning. As a formal educator myself, I understand the value of experiential learning and have you actually like practice things so that they stick, as opposed to just relying on you having read and memorized. So I like to ensure that you engage with the material. That being said, I'm going to put you guys into groups today because you're going to be doing a group activity. So I'm going to put you in 4 separate groups. I think this class has 4 Oh, in regard, no, I will not be sending you. Sorry, Adria asked a question about sending the recordings in your emails. No, I created a static page, which is the landing page for class, and all of the resources are on that slide. So the access to the slide is in your Moodle. I also sent that to you. I put the link to it in the class page last week. I'll send you that link again, but you can find that in your Moodle. And if you go there, that will be updated every single time we have class. So all of the resources that I have available to you, you will find on the bookshelves. So let me share that right now. Let me show you what that looks like. Pardon my Google Drive. This is the document that you will have access to. Every time we have a new class or a topic, I'm going to update it for you. But this is where all of your resources live. I'm waiting for the internet to do its thing. Right. So each one of these icons on the bookshelf, there is a link attached to each of them. So this is the link for last class right there. All right. Any other questions about that? I can't see the chat room right now. Chat, here we go. Yeah, just refresh it. It should be here. Because this is the updated show. If you are just looking at the picture that's on Moodle, that's a static one. Click it and it's a hyperlink. And this will always be updated. All right. So again, it has the Zoom, the link to this Zoom room. It has the first video that I shared with you last week, the crash course in statistics. This is the PowerPoint slide on statistics that I shared with you the other day. This is the recording of the class on Monday. And this right here, I'm going to go over this in a second. This is our class activity for today. Right here is our class syllabus. So next week we'll have a new bookshelf. It'll be another slide with a bookshelf. It'll only have Zoom and then the resources for that week. All right, so this page will remain static for this week. And that's where the resources will live. Any questions about that? Okay. Stop sharing that. All right. So as I mentioned before, the slides that I have are actually borrowed from somebody else. I did not gain the actual permission for them. And so I'm going to have a conversation from them regarding like the status of the sharing of these slides. Slides that I procure myself, I don't mind. Like it doesn't matter to me. But because I did not procure them myself, I actually got them from somebody else. I do not feel at liberty to share a resource I did not pay for, just like in the event that that's not what they want. I know it is, authors and publishers do not like it when we share slides. And I get that. I will explicitly state my concern about people not having the textbook. Yeah, I'm gonna just go on record and state my concern about people not having the textbook. I understand textbooks are expensive. I highly recommend getting PDF editions of them, but sometimes you need them. Even if you get like an older edition, to not have a resource at all is definitely a disadvantage to you, because almost always I will go through a lecture and I will be selective about how I deliver that lecture. You will almost always have an activity, and I am operating under the assumption that you have the resources that you need for this. Like that's how I'm operating. I am operating under the assumption that you have the resources to complete the activity. And in this case, it would be the textbook. All right. That being said, and while we have a nice healthy group, I'm going to share today's activity with you. So as I mentioned before, I told you we're not going into stats. We're not going into stats to the extent that you have really complicated formulas. I'm not going to have you actually create standard, like calculate standard deviations. We're not going to do any of that complicated stuff. But what I will be doing is assigning you, putting you in groups, and your groups are going to go into breakout rooms. I'm going to give each of your groups a data set. So you're going to have a spreadsheet, which are the results of a survey. All of you have different bits of information, and you're going to tell me a story based on the information that you have. So I'm just going to share my screen again so you can see the title and the activity associated. Okay. So like I said, click right here. Wait, sorry. Let me give you guys access to this again, because you might not be in Moodle right now, sharing this. Oh, some of you are looking at it. So copy link. I'm gonna put this in the chat again. Boom. That's this slide. Okay. And this is the assignment that you have for today. Oh, modest, I feel like I got conned. Anyway. Okay, so the assignment, and this is a good time for you to ask any very specific questions relative to this assignment. So last class we reviewed some very basic terms in statistics and summarized statistics as the mathematical storytelling. So you will be placed into 4 teams. Each of your teams will be given a spreadsheet containing data from a survey collected from parents or guardians of students in schools in the Bahamas. This was an actual survey with data that I collected. You're going to practice statistical story. This is supposed to be storytelling. See? Sometimes it don't let me be great. Storytelling by summarizing 4 of the asked questions. So I'm going to show you the table, an example of the table in a second. You're going to be summarizing 4 of the asked questions and explaining what information you have collected from them. So in your storytelling, you're going to be sure to respond to these either questions or statements. So you're going to make sure these parts of the assignment are definitely completed, because this is how you will be graded. You're gonna identify the sample size, so make sure you know the sample size. You're gonna make a hypothesis on which sampling method you think was used. You do not need to have evidence to support this. I just want you to be familiar with sampling sizes. In your explanation, you're going to use at least 2 scales of measurement to describe the relationship between the data in a set, or also known as like the answers in a question. What that means is you're going to look at the information. Well, you have the slide. You're going to tell me whether, in describing them, you're going to identify them ordinally, like this group was like first, second, third, or group 1, group 2, group 3, that sort of identification of the groups. That's all that means. You are going to use all 3 types of central tendency in describing a particular data set. So you could, what that means is like, you can say the average answer was, the mean answer was, and that's this number or this response, or the number that the answer that occurred the most is, and that's mode. And then the one that was like collected in the middle is median. Median might be a little more cumbersome to explain, but median again is the one that occurs in the middle. Explain the range of it in at least one data set. So what range means is like, you're going to describe the range is the difference between the highest and the lowest. And in math, difference means you subtract. So the difference between the highest number and the lowest number, you're going to explain the range of answers or the range of numbers in that set. And then you're going to hypothesize about the relationship between 2 data sets. So you're going to tell me like, they have a positive correlation, negative correlation, or no relationship whatsoever. Now, I know all of that sounds incredibly intimidating, which is why I'm going to have you play around with this a little bit. What you need to do, your goal here is to answer all of these questions. All right. That's it. You're just going to answer all of these questions. The smallest skill that you need for this activity is that you need to have some familiarity with Microsoft Excel, because we are all college students. I'm operating under some degree of assumption that you are familiar minimally with a spreadsheet. All right. I'm going to show you some stuff in the spreadsheet really quickly. This is numbers. Sorry, any questions about any of that?
Okay, to make sure I understand, because I'm a bit confused. It's basically a survey what was done recently, and we have to answer those questions, but it's something to do with Excel.
Yeah, the data I'm sharing with you is it's in a spreadsheet format. Adria, you can just download a copy of the assignment, because if I give you access to it, you will be able to edit it. So you can see it, right?
No, it's not allowing me to see it.
Oh, okay, hold on. Let me fix that, because I thought I shared it. Share. Oh, you're right. It's private to only me. Anyone with link can see. Okay, boom, fixed it. Thank you.
What is the link in the chat for?
For the landing page for this class with all of the resources on it.
Pardon?
The landing page for the class with all of the resources on it.
Can you resend the link, please?
It's also in Moodle. Okay. I'm not going to use one that already exists. So let me. Open recent. Okay, I'll just use this one. So share screen. Okay. So this is essentially what the document looks like. So when I said, say 2 of the questions, this is one here. This is a question. Each one of these columns is a question. So right here is, this question is, sorry, this is numbers, so the answer is at the bottom. In which constituency do you live? This one's like, this is your age group. This one, this is your gender. How many, do you have a child or children who attend schools? How many children do you have in your care? How are you related to the children? And so for this assignment, you only have to pick 4 questions that you're going to answer for. Does that make sense? So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
Are you sending this to us? And is
Yeah,
this
when I put you in your groups, because every group will have a separate one. So yes, I'm going to give you this document and you'll be able to edit it. So you have like 12 questions that you can select from. You're just responding with 4 of them to tell us a story. Does that make sense? I want you to understand that I'm expecting you to be uncomfortable with this assignment. This assignment is designed for you to be uncomfortable and become comfortable with playing around with looking at data. So the discomfort that you might be feeling, I expect you to feel. That's the purpose of this assignment. Because like, if you can't do this in class and get through it, when will you be able to? All right. I just want you to be able to play around with your own storytelling using just raw data. Okay. So I'm going to show you a couple of tricks for those of you who have never once in your life used Excel. One of the reasons that I'm putting you in teams is you're going to need to pool your resources to figure out who knows how to do what. I have a couple of links in the assignment page. Again, the assignment page, it's hyperlinked on the course landing page. It's the last assignment to the bottom, so you can click that and you can download that yourself. I just went through it. But like, okay, so there are a couple of things that you can do in Excel to help you count. You don't have a lot of numbers here, so you won't have a lot of like average, like, so you don't need to, you don't need to summarize of sorts, okay? Sorry, there's an equation called sum where you can just count the number of something. You can add them up. Okay, so there is a formula that's called count if. If you go to the bottom of the row, so this is row B. Sorry, this is column B. This is row A right here. So this is, this is B. So this cell right here is B2. This cell right here is B42. Does everybody get that? That's how that's identified. So do you see all of the options in these cells? You have Centerville, you have Baintown and Grantstown, you have other, got that? If I want to count, and this, again, I'm teaching you a super, super simple formula for those of you who may or may not know how to use Excel. Count if, literally you put count if A. We are counting if, I said B2, B2 to B42, comma. This is the easiest way to count. There's an asterisk right there. Why is it coming out as a star? Sorry, that's supposed to be quotations. Now, I want to count if it says other. And that right there tells me the number of cells that say other. That's the formula. Does everybody get that? So right here, if I wanted to count the number of cells that said female versus male, I come here. This top one is D2. This bottom one is D42. Comma, I'm sorry, equal sign, D2, 2, that's a colon, D42, comma, open quotation mark, male. You have to type it exactly the way it says. Close quotation marks. I forgot to close the bracket. Why you do me like that? D42, do I have the right cell? D42. Now the word male looks wrong. Why? Sorry, let me fix that. Right here. Copy. Good old copy and paste. Male. Boom. And it just counted the number of cells that say MALE. Does that make sense? So on the document, what I'm going to do is copy this formula in here. So you can just copy it and paste it onto your document. All right, let me do that now. I can hear the panic attacks that are happening. Let me share this page. Okay, so I'm going to put that count if formula right here. Equals count if, open bracket. I'm just going to put A2 to A42, comma, open bracket. I'm going to put like an asterisk right here. That the asterisk part, you're going to change out for whatever information you're looking for, close brackets, comma. That's the formula. It helps you to identify very specific information. All right, that being said, I'm putting you in your groups. I'm going to bounce around to your various groups so that you don't freak out. So I'm going to bounce around to your various groups and put you in, after I put you in breakout rooms. So is this a graded assignment? It absolutely is. I'm actually going to use this as your first oral presentation grade. So this is kind of like, did you do the thing, pass or fail situation? This is not a, you have to get this perfect. I want you to practice the storytelling. If you don't get the calculation right, as I bounce around, if somebody's sharing a screen in a group or whatever, or if I'm looking at, I'll probably look at your document when I get into your group to make sure you're calculating it right. So I'm going to help you with the calculations and to make sure that information is right. What I want you to do is be able to manipulate that data yourself and tell the story, okay? That being said, breakout rooms, I'm gonna just randomly do this. So 4 breakout rooms and Zoom's gonna do the math. 5 participants, okay, that's fine. Boom. All right. Okay. All right, room number, am I in room number 1? Okay, no, room number 1's still getting their act together. Yes. What up, group 2? Okay, I'm now going to share the link for your assignment with you, for your spreadsheet with you. All right, ask your questions now.
I'm confused about all of that actually.
The whole shebang.
What,
Like
like,
really?
I think the best, at least for me, what I may try to do is just attempt the assignment, but I am confused. So I would try to work through the confusion by attempting the assignment to see if I maybe somehow got it.
this is
But
group
other
two,
than that,
right?
I'm confused.
I mean, so I'm gonna give, okay, get link. Copy. All right. So you're gonna have to open up this document. This is group 2. Girl, why did I do that? Oh, sorry. It really. Wait, why is that doing that? Everyone. Copy link. Paste. There we go. All right. Open up the document. Let's talk about it. In fact, can I share with you guys specifically? I'm gonna close, share screen. Okay. So this is your task. So the first question that you have to answer is, first thing you need to do is like, what is your sample size? And the answer to that is like, how many people have completed this survey? Based on the number of responses. This stupid bar is getting in my way. All right, this is your document. Look at it. What's your sample size? AKA, how many people?
38.
That's the answer. That's your sample size.
So are we doing this n equals 38?
No, you're gonna literally write the sentence, our sample size was 38 persons.
Okay.
Yeah. What is this? Oh, why did I open that? Okay. Oh, I closed the document. Sorry, give me a second. Let me reopen it. What's the next thing that you need to do? It says
The hypothesis.
on the sampling method. Remember, I
So
said
can we put random sampling?
you can put random sampling. And so pick 4 answers. So this isn't, each one of these columns essentially represents a question, and that it's also a data set. So you're going to pick 4 of them, maybe highlight them, and those are the ones you're going to work with. You do not have to respond to all of these. You do not have to summarize all of the data. Pick just 4 of them and work with those 4. You can even feel free to like delete the rest of them so that you're only looking at those 4. That's what you're doing. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I don't think it's complicated as much as it is just new. Like you've not done this before. So that's why I'm giving you, we have this entire class time to play around with this. So I'm gonna pop back in and stop you guys like closer to the end of class.
Okay,
All right.
so basically we have the questions on the paper you showed us previously, we have to answer those.
Yeah.
Basically going back and forth to this page right here. And we only have 4 questions to answer, basically.
You can use, I mean, if you want to be ambitious, you could use more, but I only want you to look at 4 of them to tell the stories, because you have to manipulate them. You have to count them and then like write it up. And again, looking at a chart feels cumbersome. So you're going to just tell us about what's happening here. Like, I don't want you to just like write the sentence. I want you to explain something to us based on what you see.
Okay, the answers, are we putting them on or under the questions? Or are we making a separate document?
You're making a separate document. At the end of the instructions, it's like compile all of your information into a single document with the same information with the assignment header. So you're gonna turn it into like a real document, but this is only like a paragraph.
Okay, so all the answers are in one paragraph format, basically.
Yeah, but
Okay.
you want to be sure to tell a story. So we want to understand like something happened here. All right.
Okay.
All right. All right. I'm gonna bounce out to another group. I'll pop back in. Send a message to me if you need me.
Okay.
All right. I'm leaving room. I'm leaving this breakout room. Hola. So I'm bouncing around to talk to everybody. I'm assuming that Austin's not in this room because he turned his computer on and walked away. Are you guys here?
Hi.
Hi.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Gonna show you, oh, sorry. I'm sharing the link for your, this is what, group 1. Sharing the link for your assignment. Oh, I shouldn't have closed that. Close that. Group 1. Get link. Copy link. Okay.
Austin, he said that his computer crashed.
Oh. Let's see. Okay. Group 1. This is your spreadsheet. I'm going to open it. Daria's gonna have to wait a second. So, group 1, here we go. All right, so this is your assignment right here. What you're going to do is, this is the information that you're manipulating. So when I say you only have to choose 4 questions, that's like choose 4 columns from the information, whose stories you're going to tell. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. So the first question is like, what is your sample size? Your sample size is going to be the number of people who've responded to your survey. So what's that answer? What's your sample size?
39.
Look again. Remember, the top one is the questions. So,
38.
38. 38 is your sample size. And so essentially you're going to respond to all of these questions. You're going to make sure all of this information is in your document. You're going to create a new document, and you're pretty much going to write a summary of the information from 4 of these columns, right? So when I say you have to put like the mean, right? Remember I talked about the central tendency. Okay, what is the average response? So what is the mean response? What did most of the people say for a particular response? Or what response appeared the highest number of times? And that may be different, because like in the age group category, you have multiple sections. So you're able to count like the average age of the parents was this, or the greatest number of parents who responded to the survey was this. Or right here, where you talk about the constituency, most people lived in this constituency. That's what I mean by like central tendency. You're going to put like the averages, or like, again, in the case with St. Barnabas, where there are numbers, it's harder to give an average that is numerical, but like your mode is like this one appeared the most. When we talk about the range, some of the answers, how are you related to the child? Right here, you have a range of answers, okay? So when we talked about like numerical range, it was like the difference. So you subtract one from the other, but like the parents or the relationship between the children range from like other to mother or other to grandparent, that sort of thing. Like that's the kind of storytelling. So by the time you're done, I want you to give us like one concise story based on the information that you have before you. Does that make sense?
Yes.
I understand.
Excellent. All right. I'm going to jump out to another group. Send me a message if you have any questions. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cheese and bread. I have to explain things to people. I'm here now. Okay. What's happening with Riche? Is she all over the place and nowhere at all? Somebody else needed help. Okay, I'm gonna have to go back to them. All right. Hi, people.
Hey.
Okay, let me share your link with you. Give me a second. Doing this in the digital world is so much harder. This is group 3. Get link and also open. All right, chat group 3. This is your link. Boom. All right, so while you're waiting to see that, I'm going to share my screen because I should have it up in the other place. Okay, we're just waiting for, okay, here we go. All right, so this right here is yours. All right, so literally, so when I said questions or data sets, each one of these columns is their own question or data set. That's all that means, all right? So you're gonna pick 4 of these to tell us a story about this group. You can pick, you can decide the extent you want to tell how interesting your story could be, all right? I want you to do this based on your skill and ability level. I'm hoping you wow me or tell me something really interesting, but I don't know your life. Okay, so the first question is like, what is the sample size? We are just going to use the number of responses in the survey itself as a determinant of the survey of your sample size. So based on that, what's your sample size?
Would it be 125?
No, look at the number of answers you have. Because you don't have all of the survey. I have one survey broken up into 4. So look at the columns on the side and see which row it goes down to.
39. Okay, so 39.
It's right, but remember the top row would be the question. So how many are in your sample?
38.
38. So that's how you answer that question. Another question you have is, can you see that thing from Zoom? No way. Another question, for example, says, explain it to at least 2 scales of measurement in relationship to the data. So we're talking about, sorry, is that, yeah, 2 scales of measurement. Is this you? No, that's group 2. So all that means is like, you're gonna tell me like, this is group whatever. This is group 1, this group is first, this is group 2, or this was the first, this is the largest number. So you're gonna categorize them in some way. You have ways to categorize them. Use those titles. So you can use something ordinal, or like you can use first, second, third. So the first group, you can call like the female, the people who identify as female, you can say that's group 1, and then you can call the other one group 2, or you can use their names, like the group of female responses versus the group of male responses. Like that's just a way to be able to identify. Or if you looked at something like whether or not the children were in public school, that's the way you may want to be able to sort the information. So you will explain that based on that information. Or whether people like strongly agree. So the first group, this group number 1 was the number of people who strongly agreed. Group number 2 were the number of people who somewhat agreed, that sort of thing. Does that make sense? You're just using the language. That's what I want you to practice.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know if it's only me who just really confused right now, but could you just break it down just one more time, please?
All of these questions are based on the lecture slides that I shared with you last class. We went over sample size, which sampling method was used. Right here, you don't have to have any actual evidence of the sample, the evidence that was used. I just want you to make conjecture about what sampling method do you think was used. Give me a sampling method.
Survey.
Like a strategy, not an actual methodology, but like, how did you get the samples? Convenience, random, strategic, like what strategy did they use to find people to fill these out?
I guess random sampling.
Then that's what you put. Because I put here, you don't have to have actual evidence of that. I want you to have an answer. All right. So it says, explain the range in the data set. A range is what's the difference between one group or another. So right here, when you look at age groups, it'll say something like the respondents or the people responding to the survey, their ages range from this to this. That's what that means when you say the range. Does that make sense?
It does.
So like I said, I'm having you play around with it because this sounds way more complicated. All else fails, if you can't remember these bits of information, go back to the slide on statistics because it's there available for you to remind you of what these things mean. All right.
Okay then.
All right, I'm gonna jump into another breakout room. Okay, sorry, I'm coming to you last. All right, leaving this room, go into another room. All right, breakout room. So, sorry, it took a while for me to get here. I'll assign you to group 1. All right, how are you guys doing? No, you're not.
Our group dynamics are.
What's that? Okay, I saw a thumbs up. All right, one of the reasons you guys are last is because your slide was the one I showed first. So you actually got a sneak preview at your slide, at your spreadsheet. I'm sharing that with you right now. All right, while that's coming up, I'm gonna open it up and talk to you about it. Okay, some of these things sound super, super complicated, but literally you're looking at the information and you're just gonna make sure you explain a couple of things based on it. So when I said the questions, each of these columns is a question. So like this question is, how do you have a child or children who attend school? Simple as that. This one here is a question that says, the school encourages students to work hard. And down here are the parents' answers. So you're going to pick 4 of these questions to analyze the data from, just 4 of them. So you can essentially delete everything else if you just want to look at 4, whichever 4 you want to, okay? So looking at the questions that you have to ask, the first one, what is your sample size? All right. Am I looking at the right one? No. So this first column is the one with the questions. So this 2 is essentially column number 1, and this goes down to 42, right? What is your sample size? We're gonna pick sample size based on the number of respondents that we have in this survey. So what's your sample size?
42.
Remember, the first column at the top is a question. So how many answers do we have below it?
41.
41, that's your sample size.
41.
Right, so when you put it
Okay.
together, you're literally going to say, our sample size was 41 respondents, or 41 people responded to the survey. Sounds fun?
Oh,
That's it. And then,
Okay. Why wasn't it 180?
because this is one survey and I divided it up into 4 for you guys to have, for you not to have the same survey.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, plus it had like 171. I know looking at that much information would make you feel overwhelmed, because I'm sure looking at this few makes you feel overwhelmed. I want you to lean into that discomfort, because you can't get through it unless you push past it. So when we talked about central tendency, we're talking about mean, mode, and medium. What shows up? So in not all of these are actual numbers. You know, like when you do averages, you can say all of these numbers, line them up in a row, da 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 da. So because they're not all numbers, some of them you're going to have to describe. So if you looked at, for example, this column, how are you related to the child? Mean is the average, right? And in this case, because they are not numbers, mean is also going to refer to mode, which is what occurs the most. So for you, you can sort these. Remember, I showed you guys how to count if, which is the easiest way for sorting for you guys. So you create some tables down here, right here. Well, you don't have to create the tables. So says, if I wanted to say like father, stepfather, Control C, I just pasted that there, right? In fact, I'm gonna copy that so I don't have to type it again. Here, count if, in the brackets, this is G, G2, G42, that's my bottom row, comma, brackets. If I wanted to say that, boom. 15 people are stepfathers, or father or stepfather. And then you can do that same one below to find out how many people are mothers, how many people, you can literally copy and paste all of them down here to count how many there are for each of them. And once you've done that, you can say most of the people, or the highest number of people, which is frequency, which is mode, were this relationship to the child. Does that make sense?
yes, well.
That's all you're doing with this. And then you're just going to write it in a nice little paragraph so you can tell us a story about it.
Wait, can you show us how you found the number again, please?
I've actually cheated for you. I have the formula right here. It's still in here.
Oh,
Yeah. So the cheat to this is, okay, you have, that's father. This says aunt, uncle. I'm going to copy that, right? Copy right here. I'm going to paste it. Boom. Sorry. Control C. Paste that right here. Boom. Okay. You know, in Excel, you can copy a formula by doing that. So I'm just going to double click it and modify it. So I still need G2 to G42, but I don't need it to say father and stepfather. I need it to now say aunt/uncle. So I'm highlighting that and I'm just gonna paste that new answer in there. And then it counted it for me.
Ah, okay, I understand.
So I put your little cheat formulas in here. I'm gonna go check on some other groups. Send me a message if you need anything, but it also lets you ask me for help if you need it, okay?
Thank you.
All right, no problem.
Where's the question? You know, with the measurement question.
You mean the one with
She said,
huh?
no, go ahead. Go ahead.
You mean the one with say in your explanation, use at least 2 scale measurements to describe your relationship?
Right. So the scale measurement that I was suggesting was the nominal scale or the interval scale. So the nominal scale we could use for gender, because you know we have to pick out, let's say there's 12 subgroups or whatever, where they ask gender, do you have a kid? How many children you have? Age group, strongly agree, disagree, that whole situation on the Excel document.
Right.
I picked 4 out of those. Gender, do you have a child? How many children, and age group. So I was assigning.
You only have to do that for one.
Oh, you're back. Oh, I didn't even know you're here.
Oh, you didn't realize I was here?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, but you only have to do it for one. You don't have to do it for all of them. Just do it for one of them.
Oh, Miss.
Okay, I'm
you can't share the screen.
Who, me? It's not allowing you to share the screen?
Nope.
Oh, I don't know what breakout room powers are. But you can all look at it. I mean, oh, because you all can't open it at the same time?
At the top drawer. That's I think I'm in now. Right to the top. You want a beta?
I don't. Do I? People. Okay. Who's trying to share screen?
I am.
Who's I? Sorry.
Regina.
Okay, Regina. Let me see if I can make you. See, I can't even make you a thing of. I can't make you a host. I don't know. I just assumed you all would open up the document.
We have it open, but we wanted to share one screen so everybody could see everything while we discuss.
Because it's happening in real time. Whatever edits you make will happen in real time.
What edits?
Yeah, you can edit it. I left it for you to edit.
I can't even edit the document either. I could look at it, but I can't edit it.
You should be able to edit it. Let me check the settings again. This is group what, 2?
I think so.
Share, everyone in this group should be able to, yeah. Anyone on the internet with this link, you should be able to edit it. So you can't put these, you can't down here. Can somebody try and edit it and see what happens? I see somebody's in J1. I see somebody's in Anonymous Jackal down here. Can you edit? What happens when you try to type?
I can't edit. I don't know why it's telling me to. But I can't, I think it's either.
No, somebody just typed 33333333.
Yeah, I just typed that.
Yeah, so you're able to edit it.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let me jump to another group. Yeah, so you're able to edit it. Call me back.
It's only one person writing up the document, right?
Yeah, you just need one document.
Okay.
But mostly this is about you having a conversation about this. Like that's my goal. All right?
Okay.
All right. Hola.
Ni hao. We was a little stuck because we not stuck, but like we forgot to ask you before you went because we were so focused on your teaching that we forgot to ask you that we needed help with if you could disable the so we could share our screen with one another.
So, oh, apparently I cannot. I just tried that with another group. I can't make anybody else the host. I don't know why.
Oh, okay, okay.
But you can edit the document and you can edit it in real time.
Mm-hmm.
So if
Okay.
everybody's looking at it at the same time, if you type on it, it will show up for everyone.
Yes, well.
Sorry about that.
No, that's okay. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Okay. So, going to another room. Right here. Where did I just come from? No, sorry. Hello, are we good?
Um,
Wow, that's a long
no, we are not. We are not good.
No.
Okay. That was very funny. Okay, where are we? What are we looking at? I'm gonna share my screen. This is what, group one?
Yes.
All right. All right, what's up?
So I came in at the tail end of your explaining the count if. So I started with doing D and calculating how many males and females were surveyed.
That's
from
right.
College. But I don't know what else I'm doing.
That's a start. So remember, one of the questions is, okay, in your explanation, so you can, this is really 2 scales of measurement, right? So we can talk about like the highest number. Okay. So where are you? What's the largest number of respondents were? The largest number of persons who responded to the survey were what gender?
Female.
Female. That's like 1. That's like ordinal. That's group 1. Group 1 is female. So the largest number of respondents to the survey were female, and the smaller number were male. And then you could tell me how with the numbers. So the largest number of respondents to the survey were identified as females. There were 22 responses, and the smaller number was males. There were 16 responses. Next question. That's what I'm telling you. Statistical terms sound complicated, but like when you start explaining it, it really just becomes very, very simple.
So that would be considered one measurement or?
Right, that's ordinal. So you can use another one. You can do or, and then you can explain it as a ratio. So 16 to 22, break that down as smaller fractions. So 8 to 11. The ratio of respondents were 8 to 11 in the order of male to female. Boom, you explained it as a ratio. So they're relative to one another. See how simple that is?
So when we answering the question, we could use any column to answer one question.
Correct. But when you are done, make sure you are telling us one beautiful, cohesive story. Like, don't just like randomly jump all over the place. Try and tell one story.
Okay.
Try. I realize being able to tell one story is a higher level skill. I just want you to try.
What about the second question about the sampling method?
You're just hypothesizing because you have no data whatsoever on the sample size, on the sampling method. Just pick one.
How many are there?
Random, convenience, strategical, just pick one.
Okay, so I was right.
Yeah, just pick one. I just want you to be familiar with a sampling method. Because this was convenient sampling. I collected this data myself, me and a couple of UB students. What else? Are you guys good? Can I jump to another group? Do you guys understand the cheat with the count if, right? Because you can just like copy and paste it all over the place to get all of the numbers.
Yeah,
Okay, all right,
that's why I jumped on that because it looked easier.
awesome. All right, I'm gonna jump to another group. Who needs me? Where these people just come from? I'm sorry, I have to assign people to groups because they just reached. So y'all, please explain the instructions to them. Cause Lord, I don't know what to say. All right, assign to. I don't know what to tell you, child. Okay. All right. Peace out. Go into another group. This was what, group 1? Are we good in here?
We're having a problem with okay, so you said out of the data set, right? So let's say we choose gender. We'll have to use 2 measurement of scale. I didn't have the name of scale of measurement to it. So for example, gender have to be either nominal as well as, I know it's not, but interval as well. Like we'd have to explain that.
Right. Or you could use something that has more.
Because that's what I'm having a hard time right now.
Because it only has
I'm trying to find something that has both. Yes. So like, for example, I know they were saying like ordinal could be yes or no, I think, right? Because it has 2 choices, but they're saying that it has to have like a ranking order.
Right.
Like a clear ranking order.
So if you did ordinal, it would just be like male and female because it doesn't have to be a number. It's just like the descriptor. So this group is male, this group is female. But you could choose one that has more than 2 so that you can say first group, second group, third group, largest group, median group, smallest group. You can have those kind of descriptors for them.
So that could probably be constituency then.
Right.
So we could use gender and constituency for ordinal.
Right.
Okay.
Or you can use constituency and you can use it for both of them. So you can describe one set in different ways. For example, if you were using relationship to child, you can use that. You can say relationship to child. First group was persons from like persons who were mothers. Second group was persons who were fathers. Third group, you can do it that way.
So I like constituency, right? For nominal to say because it means something. So we have Centerville, we have whatever, to Michael, blah, blah, blah. And then we could use constituency for ordinal and we can say that the number of frequency we saw for Michael was 10. The number of frequency that we saw for like that.
But that's for central tendency. Mean, mode, median, because the frequency would be mean, mode, median. So that would be a good one for mean, mode, median, or even or like the age group of people, of parents, or the number of kids that they had. That would be a good one.
Okay.
So like, even with the number of kids, you can use the range as a range. So the
we can use that as the interval then.
Correct.
So number of kids.
And you can also, if you only have 2 of them, you can also use a ratio. So like, so for like X number of people with this, you have Y number of people with this to determine like either the number of respondents or something like gender. What was the ratio of the gender distribution? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. So you're saying like ratio of gender distribution would be like, let's say 2 to 1 female to male.
Right.
And then we can use that as nominal to say that there were males and females.
Right. So you would have used gender as both nominal and also interval.
Okay.
Got
Thank
it?
you.
Yes.
All right. I'm running to group 3.
Okay.
Hello.
Hi. So we have some questions because I think we're so confused.
Okay.
Okay, so okay. Right. I just trying to get the information. So one of the questions is, in your explanation, use at least two scales of measurement to describe the relationship between the data in a set answers in a question, right?
Uh-huh.
So, okay. I don't know how this can come up, but I hope it makes sense.
Mhm.
So on the spreadsheet, right, you want us to answer four of the various questions, which is, for example, how many children, I guess, attend school, or how are you related to the child, or what grade your child is in, and stuff like that, right?
Right. Each one of them is a
Okay.
question. So you can just
Okay,
pick,
each one.
yeah, you can just
Okay.
pick 4 of them that you're going to respond to.
Okay, so when we do, for example, just for example, when we do the scale, right?
Mhm.
Let's say we use nominal scale,
Mhm.
right? Okay, so we answer the question as in like, okay, so, okay, because, okay, I trying to explain this properly. Because like, I'm guessing this is already used in a scale format.
Mhm.
Because when I was looking at the examples, I was like, okay, well, the type of scale we want, like, okay, that particular scale I just said, it was like, okay, so we use disagree, strongly disagree, agree, and stuff like that. So
Right.
whichever question we use, for example, I would say, how are you related to the child? So how do we go about answering the question? Like, do we choose that particular question and then make a question to have evidence for our scale? Like, for example, like how
No, you're giving it more work. So most of the scales, because remember, when you are sometimes looking at the data, they're just numbers, but your data isn't numbers, they're actually responses. So you can just identify them as like group 1, the first group of respondents were parents, the second group were mothers, the second group were fathers or stepfathers, the third group were uncles, like that. You can do that like that, and that's nominal. I'm sorry, that's ordinal. First, second, third, fourth, and you can rank them based on like maybe the number of responses in them, first, second, third, fourth, like that. Or you can just identify them as the groups with the numbers that exist as they are. Mothers, fathers, grandfathers. So there were 15 mothers, 16 grandfathers. That's just nominal.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what's like you're doing
Okay.
more things. I literally want you to play with the data. I don't want you don't have to make anything. You're just sorting it so that it tells a story.
Oh, okay then. Okay. Well, that's clear now because we was just stuck on that particular question because we was trying to figure out like if we have to actually do the scale, and I was like, I don't think that makes sense because it's already a scale, but okay then.
All right. Awesome.
Thank you.
No problem.
I
You
can.
can say it again. Let me write it down.
Just checking in. Y'all good?
Yeah, we good.
All right.
I have a question.
Okay.
Can you? Okay, never mind. I just read the full question.
Okay.
Never mind.
All right. Let me know.
Yeah.
Send me a message if you need me.
When are we presenting? What time are we presenting, Ms. Graham?
Great question.
Well, as I was navigating these spaces and some people just came late, I was hoping for us to be able to present this at the end of class, but I'm now thinking at the top of the next class. It's like, are you guys, are you done?
3 more questions, halfway.
Halfway. Yeah.
Right. So, and it's 7:16. So when we come back together, I'll bring you guys back at 7 in like 20 minutes. So we'll only have 10 minutes left for class, but we can talk about some stuff when we come back to class.
Perfect.
Excellent. All right. Hola.
Okay, hi. I have a question for the average. For the mean in the data set, we could use any. I'm not understanding what we're supposed to be dividing. Like
Well,
for like say if we do for gender, because we see that it's 23 females and 15 males. Yeah. So will we be getting the average female or the average male?
you can, well, it's like the average response was from, and in this case, you would be doing mode, because that's the number with the highest frequency. But you'd have to pick another category that has more than just two choices to do median and
average
and mean. Yeah.
Okay then.
Something like maybe the number of responses to a particular question. Like if you use the responses to a particular question, you can do mean. No, you can still only do mode. If you did age groups or number of children, you'd be able to do mean, mode, and median. If you just chose that one, you could sort that for mean, mode, and median.
Okay, so the mode would be basically the highest frequency.
Right.
And the mean, we would be getting the average of
so the average number of children. From number of children, if you're going to do it that way, because I think those were also ranges, you can do, I would do, pick the mean from the range. Does that make sense? So like if it's like, what are the ranges for children? Like 0 to 3, 1 to 3?
1 to 3, 4 to 6.
Right.
10,
So
7
2,
to 9,
5, 8, like that. Does that make sense?
Instead of like having it.
Instead of keeping it as a range, you can use the median number from the average number of children.
Oh, okay.
So you will have like one solid number as opposed to a range of numbers to work from.
Okay then.
All right.
Yes, Mom. Thank you.
No problem. Let me know if you need anything else.
Okay.
Hello?
Hello.
Oh, I was taken out of my breakout room because my laptop died.
Which group were you in?
Group 1.
I'll send you back.
Thank you.
No problem. My mother's sick. Ooh, child. Welcome back, people. Hello there. Okay. How did that go?
You want the honest truth?
Yes.
I didn't like it.
I figured that much. I wasn't expecting you to enjoy it. Just, that was not a goal.
I know if that's the honest truth now.
It was interesting because some stuff I did remember from stats, which I did a long time ago. So it was interesting, I guess, to bring all that back.
Right.
But it wasn't difficult, but it was just sort of confusing. But it wasn't difficult.
It's a lot of stuff. And again, statistics is like, how do we process this so that we can tell somebody something? Because most people, when they're looking at the charts, they see what you guys saw. It's like, okay, there's a lot of numbers and words, but like, what does any of this mean? That's what you typically get. So when you collect data, what you saw is essentially what you get. So I'm actually going to show you guys, because we have time, I'm going to show you a report that I generated based on this information. Just so you have an idea of like the beauty that this can become. What was that called? Let's Talk Learning. LTO? Do I see LTO? No, that's not where it is. Oh, shared with me. It's here somewhere. Here we go. And again, this isn't the full thing of it, right? But like just based on some of the information that's there. So the sample size was actually, where did I put that? So I did this a while ago. So some of you had indicated like random sampling, that's actually what the method, random and convenient sampling. It was like data collected over a 3-week period. The respondents had an option to like read the survey or have it read to them. That's the kind of stuff we put in that. So it was a total of 179 surveys in total. Some people actually opted out of it. So in total, you had 40 from St. Barnabas, 86 from Centerville, 42 from Grantstown, and 11 were from like some random other constituency. So when you looked at the age groups, like this is how I was able to tell the story of the age group. So some of these people, some of them were parents, aunts, uncles, but like, what is the median? They're not sorted in order, but what is the mean? What is the mean age group? Or sorry, what is the mode age group? Oh crap, I'm not sharing. Why y'all ain't tell me I wasn't sharing?
I was wondering.
Y'all just got me sounding crazy. Nobody was like, I can't see. And I really like scroll through that so quickly. Sorry, so this is the presentation. Let me start from the beginning. Sorry, this was the abstract, blah, blah, blah. You gotta see all that. So this was the area, this was the area where we conducted the survey. And the reason for that was like the schools, the parents at the schools, we were trying to collect this data from. All of the schools centered around like a Centerville area. And they actually had the lowest performing GLAT score. So what we wanted to know was like, was there a relationship? Like, how did those parents who had the lowest performing, who had kids in schools from the lowest performing GLAT scores, what was their relationship with the school? Just to find out, just literally, because we had no idea. And that's why this was conducted, all right? Like, this is what I was showing you with the methodology, the information about like 179 surveys were distributed. This is where the people live. You notice that they centered around Centerville a little bit. Oh, crap.
Can I see can I see your methodology, please?
There we go. So the confidence interval was 99%. The margin of error was minus 10%, plus or minus 10%. That was the margin of error. You dig it?
Isn't 99 super high? I normally see like 95 or so.
It's usually
That's
95.
pretty good.
It was high. And a part of that because what was oh, right. So these were the number of households that we calculated for the area. And because it was less than like 6,000, our sample size was under 200 and it was a representative sample. So that's why literally, like I didn't process the confidence level myself in order to determine, but I just like played around with the numbers and I realized I can actually go higher with a higher sampling size. Like my confidence level could be actually higher with a higher sampling size. So I aimed for it because it was attainable. So a part of that is like, yeah, when you look at what your sample is, if you're doing like all of the Bahamas and your sample size, collecting data is very difficult. If your sample size is like 3,000 people, you may lower your confidence level if you know you can't achieve an appropriate sample size. But because I could achieve the sample size, I went with a more ambitious confidence level. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does.
Yeah. So just showing you something that you would have seen. Okay, this is what I was asking. So I was able to sort, again, I sorted the data and what was the median, not the median, what was the mode age group of respondents? What appeared?
It looks like 26 to 32.
26 to 32. Remember all of that information that you had, I was able to turn it into a graph and sort it in that way. I wasn't going to give you guys the additional tasks because you would have understood the information a lot better if you converted them into graphs, but I wasn't going to give you the stress of converting them into graphs. This is what the ratio looked like, male to female. So when we were talking about ordinal, these are our numbers, 79 to 71. 79 were female, 71 were male. There wasn't another way to sort that information. What was this? Sorry, this Zoom toolbar is driving me nuts. Right, so parents and guardians with children in school or recent graduates, 139 of them were. Parents of children in public schools, 113 of them were. Parents of children in private schools, 21 of them were. Parents with children in both public and private school, only one person. Private preschool with a government voucher was one person. Again, just going through the data. You see how I'm telling you a story? Now you were understanding things. Before you just had like a crazy chart that was just kind of all over the place. I'm now telling you very specific stories about these people. So more specifically, these are their perceptions. So these parents felt like 91%. You see how high these percentages are? 91% of parents felt like their schools encouraged their children to work hard. 83% felt like schools offered high quality instruction to their students. I'm telling, based on those graphs, we're now telling stories. And so you're not gonna be able to do something as complicated as this, but you're gonna just write a nice little paragraph that tells a wonderful little story based on whatever information you had. And that's just what I want to empower you to be able to do. So at the top of next class, what you're going to do is you're just gonna read off your little summary and we can talk about it a little bit about the story that you told or the part of the story that you told. And that's essentially it. All right, so no intimidation. You literally get points for completing this. This was all about the journey. This was not about being perfect with all of the correct answers. It was about being able to manipulate and identify responses based on having just data. And I wanted you to practice that and I give you full credit for it. So once you've responded to all of the questions and you're able to talk about it a little bit, you won and you've learned a thing, and I'm satisfied with that. All right. So when you submit, you're gonna submit your final paper. Don't forget to include everybody's name who actually was in your group on the final document. Okay.
Okay, where are we submitting?
You'll turn them in next class. So you can either email it to me or send me a link with the document, but you don't have to do that until the top of the next class. So it's due next class.
Only one person is doing that, right?
Yeah, just
Okay,
one
perfect.
document, put everybody's name on it. If they didn't work on it, don't put their name on it.
Okay, thank you.
All right, see you guys on Monday.
Have a good night.
All right, good night.
Goodbye.